What's going on, everybody? It's John, Mateo, and RJ. We've got the whole gang back for the season starting. Mateo, it's been. I remember the first episode we did. All I remember was it was like a reaction to like a random game in like March or something of last year. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, that was crazy that we've been doing it for that long. But yeah, here we are.
Still going strong. And RJ, I know last episode we talked about the Lions at the end of the pod. If you want to do that again,
I don't know right now. No,
bro.
no, I'm still hopeful, man. I'm still hopeful.
Oh
We do
yeah,
something.
So am I, man. I know. We'll say it. We'll say
we'll
it for
save
the
it.
end.
We'll save
We,
it.
we'll
Save it.
talk about it.
But yeah, anything new with you guys before we talk about our preseason or our season predictions for the Pistons?
I'm just ready for this season to start. I've been waiting, man, and it's crazy that we're only a day away now, 2 days for the Pistons, and it's been a long summer. A lot of things have happened for Detroit. Some big things have happened, so I'm ready to see this start to play out.
RJ.
I mean, I'm with Teo. I'm excited for the season to start. Long off season. As much as the Pistons have tortured us the last few seasons, it's something about the opening night. It's like Christmas almost. Like we back at it. So I'm excited, man. I got tickets to opening night too. Just got them. So if anybody's in the building, want to say what's up to you, boy, feel free. I'm sure we'll run into each other. Yeah, I'm excited.
I got them last year, and then I had like nosebleeds. I don't know, man. RJ, we talked about this. My hopes. I'm excited, obviously, but my hopes just they aren't that high. So I don't know, man. Maybe if they're doing well, I'll go to a few games, but I don't think I'm gonna go to open because don't they start the season on the road?
Yeah, they start against Miami
Charlotte.
Wednesday. Charlotte is Friday, and then the Bulls Saturday.
The Bulls are at home or at the road.
Yeah, that's the home opener.
They could be better than the Bulls. That's another thing I want to talk about is like how many teams are they realistically better than in the Eastern Conference? I mean, that'll probably go along with our season predictions. Um, Teo, let's start with you, because you're an OG here. I guess what is your season predictions? You can do like hot takes. I mean, just get it all off your chest, man. We got 2 days till the season. This is all we got, man. What do you got for the Pistons?
Well, there's a lot to talk about. I don't want to get too much into it because I want to let you guys talk too. But I want to say watching Asar in preseason has been great, been awesome. Obviously, his rebounding numbers have been pretty incredible so far, especially for his position. And with Bojan all of a sudden having this injury out of kind of nowhere, no one really knew about it. He kind of got hurt in training camp, and now he's not actually going to play in the opener. And who knows, what that means for now and for the short term, but it does mean that we're going to see more Asar right away, which is awesome, and I'm so ready for that. And I'm very curious to see this year. And so my prediction then would be I think that we are going to move on from Bojan finally this year, sometime during the season. Um, I think that with everything that we've done has kind of led up to this moment. And I mean, we were so close to trading him last year. And so now that we're at this point, we've drafted our guy to ultimately replace him in the starting lineup. And I think we try to get what we can out of him at the deadline from a playoff team. That's one prediction. I don't think that's that hot of a take. He's been in trade rumors for the last couple of years. So, I mean, but and then I'll say one more for now, and then I'll let someone else go. I think that we can increase our win total. I want to say like 10 to 15 games, and I want to put us in. Unfortunately, that still is not a great record
I'd
at
hope
all.
so. I'd hope
Yeah,
we can.
I mean, yeah, but I would be happy with that. That's what I'm saying. My point is, I would be okay because look, it's not going to happen overnight. Look how bad our record was last year, obviously, and then we get screwed, frankly, in the lottery. Like we had the worst record. We get 5. That hadn't happened to a team before. That's ridiculous. And we still managed to have a good draft. And I think that it's gonna take a couple years, and unfortunately we are on a timeline of Troy's rebuild, Troy Weaver, and we're thinking like we're year 3, right? But now, or year 4, whatever. now it's kind of year one again now that we have Monty. So I know it kind of sucks because we say this every single year, but I think that this is finally, this is the foundation. We signed him to the biggest contract. He's here for a minute. He's here for years. He's going to stick around. And so as long as we can add on years or wins every year, we're good. And then last thing I'll say, I hope we can try to make the play-in. That would be awesome. But I know it's high hopes, but any team can do it, bro. You just have to sneak into that 10 seed. And I don't think the East is as deep as people are making it out to be. But all right, that's all I got.
RJ, what you got?
Hot takes.
Just your prediction. I mean, whatever you got, honestly, whatever's on your mind when it comes to Pistons.
Hot takes. I don't really have any predictions. I don't think we win 30 games. If I'm being honest, I don't. I mean, a lot of it comes down to Cade. I feel like if Cade plays at a near all-star level, then yeah, you might be sniffing, 30 games or whatnot, 30 wins that is. But do I realistically see it happening? No, because that's a lot to put on somebody who's technically going in their third year, but did miss all of last pretty much. So like, this is only year 2 for Cade. So they expect he's gonna be the catalyst to help us get near 30 wins. I'm like, that's a lot of pressure on that guy. I just want to see him healthy and look like what he was looking like before the injury. As other predictions, I think Jalen Duren's going to have a monster season. No specifics as far as stats, as far as what they would look like, but I think he's just going to, like us Pistons fans know about Jalen Duren. I think the rest of the league is about to learn about Jalen Duren now. What else do I have? I have slight hope for Killian Hayes. That might be the hot take right there.
he led the team in scoring in the preseason. I just looked that up right now.
I know, like he actually. I mean, I gotta give credit where credit is due. Y'all know how I feel about Killian, but Killian did look good in preseason for what it is. And then I know everybody keeps saying, look what Monty did with Cam Payne, as far as turning Cameron Payne from Westbrook's dance partner to a legit backup point. So maybe Monty could work something with Killian, and we could kind of get similar results. So there might be something in Killian, man. I'm hoping. I know I'm hard on him, but I'm really hoping because I'm gonna always root for him as long as he got the Pistons jersey on. But this is, I mean, we just heard the news today. His rookie, he's not getting an extension or whatnot. So he's on thin ice. Like, it's pretty explicit now. He's on thin ice, so he better show us something this year.
I feel like he was on thin ice last year, though. I don't know.
Yeah, and that ice got even thinner. I don't know how it can get any thinner than last year, but it did. So,
yeah.
I mean, he's still on the team.
What about James Wiseman, though? Is he on thin ice?
I say yes, but I don't think it's as thin as Killian's. I don't know why, but I think if I had to pick between the two, who do I have more hope for? It would be Wiseman.
I will say it was he. What did Monty say? He said what Bagley and Wiseman were fighting for that backup big spot, and I think that alone shows that he has a little bit of faith in both of them, that either of them could end up taking that spot. And whereas Killian, we have a lot of guards to play, now, especially after we brought in, Monte Morris and Sasser and all these guys, Burks. We have a lot of guards to play. So it's like, where are the minutes going to be for Killian, even if he is good enough to stay on the team? I don't know. It kind of seems like he falls very low to the end of the roster. I mean, we don't have Magruder anymore. We don't have Joseph anymore. So some of those end of the roster spots are open again, and maybe he's going to be the one to fill it. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he just has to be better than Monty Morris. If he's better than Monty Morris, he's going to get minutes. But I like Monty Morris was a starter last year.
Yeah, that's good. That's a hard thing to do to be better than Monty Morris. I mean, he's serviceable.
But it's a good problem to have. I mean, last year we were running Alec Burks at point guard, so at least we have some depth now. But so you want to talk about the play-in? Let's talk about the play-in. Because like I'm with you guys, like 30 wins. I want to say 35. That's probably asking. I mean, that's doubling their win total from last year. But like 35.
I'm saying 30 to 35. I don't think that. I think that's like it's a little hopeful, but I want to be hopeful right now. I think we have a reason to be hopeful, to be honest, with everything going on.
And that's why I want to like look at the East, because I feel like the East is actually it's not great. Like I thought it was a lot better than it was. So like, can we agree that right? They're not better than the Celtics, the Bucks, the Heat. I mean, what other teams can we, put ahead of the
Cavs.
Pistons? Cavs, okay.
The Knicks.
Knicks, okay. So we got 5 teams right now.
The Hawks.
Sixers, what I don't even know what's going on with them, but
yeah, as long as they have Embiid, we're in trouble. Yeah,
okay.
We're in trouble.
So that's six teams right now. Magic, I don't know if I can put us above
the Magic are one that I feel like could go either way though. Like right now, yes, they have Paolo. He's coming off of a hot season, and it looks like they're better. But I mean, they're not in that different of a position than we are. They're led by mostly young talent. So I mean, if our young talent can develop anything like that, we could be like on par with them or a game or two above, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that. Pacers, you kind of feel the same way about them.
Similar.
I don't know. I think they're maybe a little farther along than we are, but
how do you guys feel about Halliburton? I know this is a little off topic, but Halliburton, he had a great season last year, phenomenal in terms of statistics. But the Pacers, they didn't really get much from that. They didn't get much success from that. Do you think that that he's going to be able to lead them to playoff success in the near future, or is he just going to kind of have quote unquote empty stats? Because he gets a lot of assists for a star on a team that isn't very good. I'm just curious, they're in our division. So what do you guys think? Do you think that where do they go? Because we're going to be playing them a lot.
I think Halliburton is a great player, honestly. I like what I've seen from him. I even got to see him in person a few times now, and every time I saw him, he put on a show. So
yeah,
I think the Pacers, going off the top of my head, unless I'm missing somebody, they'll definitely be like sniffing the bottom of the playoffs or like a playoff team or playing team. I think they'll be better than us, if I'm being honest, because you got Halliburton out there. I like the Ben Mathurin last year. So
yeah, I like Mathurin too. I'm like, once you start counting off their guys though, you're like, who else do they have though? It's like Miles Turner's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Buddy Hield's one of the best shooters in the league. He's pretty good. And I don't know if I'm forgetting some people now, but it's like the list kind of starts to drop off. I think we can be kind of competitive with them, but yeah, Halliburton's a stud, and who knows? I like Ben Matt too. He could be tough. He could break out at any time, really.
They got Bruce Brown.
They do have Bruce Brown now.
Bruce Brown, man. That's a player. That's like I didn't have too much of a problem with any of the moves Troy made since he's been GM, but that's the one I'm like,
Zanan Musa.
Like, why, man? It didn't make sense. Like every other trade he made, like it was like you just have to be patient to see what he was doing next, and he would find a way to make it make sense. But that one, it's 3 years later, and I'm still just confused. Like, why did we do that?
Yeah, I mean, they got Jarris Walker for the Pacers,
right.
But
yeah,
they won 35 games. I feel like they can only go up from there, if I'm being honest. So
that's fair. That's a fair point.
Yeah,
I don't think they get more than I don't think they're higher than 500 though.
Yeah, I can see them being around there. So, I mean, other teams I think we can all agree they'll be better than the Wizards, right?
Yeah, I could
hope
see that.
So, but I'm not.
There's no guarantees right now. There's obviously no guarantees, but that's one that obviously we would want to be better than. If we're gonna be better than teams, that's one that we have to be better.
Bro, if we're not better than the Wizards, we got a problem, man.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, last year crushed me. I ain't putting high expectations.
What about who else we got? Charlotte.
The Wizards. Who do the Wizards even have? Oh, Charlotte.
They got Jordan Poole Party.
Jordan Poole Party.
Wait, Charlotte? Oh, but the Wizards have Jordan Poole?
Wizards, yeah.
They got Charlotte, really?
Hey, as long as LaMelo stay healthy.
LaMelo's
Honestly,
good, but
no, I'll take Charlotte back because they got a lot of things.
they
They
got a
got
lot of problems
good
going on
players
there.
that just do dumb things off the court. So ain't no telling what's going on with Charlotte.
I don't think
Yeah.
LaMelo alone carries them to that many wins. He's a fun player to watch and
Yeah,
a good player, but he doesn't
yeah.
necessarily translate to a ton of wins alone.
I take it back. Charlotte, no, I thought about they got too many off the court issues. I don't even know who on their team is on part of the team anymore. Who's allowed to play and who's not without going too deep into it. Like, yeah, I'll take that back. We're better than Charlotte. That's the team I'll confidently say we're better than. If we're not, shame on us at that point.
That's how I feel about the Wizards. Like they have Kuzma. Like who else do they have other than Kuzma
Yeah, after getting rid of Porzingis,
and Beal?
Yeah, it's like
Um,
pulling him now.
Okay, so I think we have two teams, right? At least for me personally, I think there's two teams I can say the Pistons could be better than. What about the Raptors? I think they're an interesting one.
They are a very interesting one because you don't really know like how they're gonna perform. They're one of those teams that could be like pretty mediocre in the regular season and then all of a sudden be a playoff team at the end of the year. But I don't know. They also have seemingly been in like trying, they were trying to trade OG for a long time, and Siakam's name has been in trade talks. I don't know. I think they have a lot of work that they need to do. I think they're gonna start a rebuild at some point here, which they kind of already have. But I don't. There's such a wild card. You have just no idea. Like they could blow it up at any point, but as long as they're not, they're gonna be solid probably.
Yeah, RJ.
I think the Raptors, I'm pretty much with Teo. They're pretty mediocre. No telling what they're going to do. I think, the rebuild might as well start. I honestly thought it would have started by now when they traded Lowry. Because I'm going to sound like a casual. They still have Siakam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so okay. I mean, they have him. I know they got the young players too, like Scotty Barnes and whatnot.
Grady Dick.
Grady Dick is on there now. I forgot. Okay, that's crazy. No, I mean,
The one that they lost was Van Vliet. He went to the Rockets.
yeah, Van Vliet's with the Rockets. Yeah, we might be better than the Raptors. I'm not confident on that one. I mean, I'm looking at the teams right now in the East. Yeah, the only ones I'm like, yeah, we might be better are the Wizards and Hornets. Everybody else, I'm like, yeah, they might be better than us.
Yeah. So to get to the 10th seed, we have to be better than 4 or 5 teams. 5?
Something like that. Anything could happen.
It'll be tough.
Rolling though.
We just got to get a couple good win streaks. We'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean that's kind of our predictions. We're all around 30 wins. Yeah, I mean, what else is there? I mean, me and RJ talked about this. We're kind of just waiting for the season to start. I mean, Bojan trade, that'll be interesting to see. I mean, Jaden Ivey off the bench, that's another thing I don't think we've touched on. You actually think he's going to be coming off the bench this year?
I think he's kind of trolling the fans right now a little bit and just experimenting with lineups. That's what preseason's for.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm with that. I think if anything, it'll probably be Ivy off the bench until Bojan comes back. Because I know they did just announce he's not playing in the opener. So I think Bojan should start. I'm in that camp. And I think once Bojan comes back, Ivy will be back in the lineup too.
Yeah, I can see that. Because Caden Ivey played like 9 games together last year or something like that?
Yeah, very few.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we've got Stanley. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. You guys?
Stanley Umude.
He was converted to a 2-way contract, so he shot 44% in the preseason. There's other little bit of news right there. But yeah, that's really all I got. I mean, we're kind of just ready for the season to start.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything? I mean, we could kind of just go around the league a little bit if you guys want to, or we could just talk about the Lions and get out of here, honestly.
Let me see if I have anything else about the Pistons, because I don't know. I'm so ready for the season to start. I'm so ready for Cade to be back, man. We've been waiting for Cade for so long. We're waiting for so long for Cade. And And yeah, just seeing all those summer highlights, the Rico Hines, the Team USA, so much teasing. I just want to see him with the jersey on, hit that first shot. It's gonna be a special moment, man.
What are, I guess, your predictions for Cade? Because like I'm a believer in him, but also like there's just such a small sample size still. Like what do you honestly think we're gonna see from him this year?
Well, if you remember my prediction from last year, I think it's pretty similar to that because I feel like had the injury not happened, had he not had to have surgery, I feel like he would have been on pace to get somewhere near that. I mean, he was playing hurt and he ended up the season averaging 19.9. I hate that that's what he ended up with after that last injured game where he shot like 0 for 7 and had a really bad game against, I believe, the Celtics. But I think I think he will get closer to 25 than to 21, in my opinion. I think he'll, be in that 23 range, 23, 24, which, sounds like a lot, but he's a scorer, man. And you saw how he was dominating at Team USA, how the coaches talked about him and everything. So I would say probably 23, 24 points. And then his assists and rebounds, I don't think there's any reason they would go down. So, I mean, I'll play it safe and say 7 and 7 or 6 and 6 would be playing it safe. But I think he can easily hit 7 and 7. So I'll say 23, 24, 7 and 7. That's what I'll say.
Wow.
It sounds like a lot, man.
That's a lot, man. I'll go like maybe 20, 21, maybe 20. I'll take that.
Hey man, if he was averaging like he was averaging 21 before that last game, and I know it's a small sample size, I know, but he's him. He's tough.
He was cooking,
and he was playing the whole time. That whole time he had that injury that was nagging him like a little bit. I don't know. It's very possible, with scheme and stuff too, though, that yeah, you like he plays more of a playmaker role because I mean that's his true talent, right? Is his playmaking side. He's a big guard, so. It's very possible we see him maybe instead do more of like a 19-9 type of thing or something like that. I could see that. I could see that too. But he just fills up the stat sheet, man. And I have him in fantasy, so I hope he does. I hope he does get a lot of good stats.
Hey, I remember a stat last year. It was like he was like double teamed the most out of like almost any player in the league or something last year. So like, yeah, I mean, I think teams are going to be game planning for him and like. He's going to have to rely on his teammates. And then that, to me, is where the problem lies because it's like if Bojan's not going to be healthy, then it's like, well, what shooters are we really going to have? We're going to have Joe Harris. Who else is a good shooter on this team? Like Alec Burks, I guess.
The idea is, I mean, Sasser's a good shooter, but he's not even going to be in the rotation yet.
Yeah.
And the idea is Asar eventually is going to be a good shooter, right? Hopefully sooner rather than later. And Stu was shooting well. He didn't finish the season very well. But I know he's going to keep pulling them. So we better hope he keeps making them or hope he starts making them again.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I just feel like this season is so unpredictable. Like there's so many like moving parts to like James Wiseman. He's played I think it was 84 career games. Like Jalen Duren, we're going to see what he can do now. I mean, he's probably going to be starting for this team. Jaden Ivey's second year, Cade coming back. Like you're now adding rookies in Asar Thompson and Marcus Sasser, like Killian and Isaiah Stewart are still trying to show their value for this team and that they can be long-term pieces. Like this season is very unpredictable. So I don't know. I feel like there's just a lot of moving parts, and I really wonder like how long is it going to take us before we start getting answers about this team? Is it going to be 5 games? Is it going to be 10 games? Like I remember last year we were talking. I listened to a podcast about it takes 20 games. You have to wait till 20 games for you to be able to realistically judge this team. But it's going to be interesting, and I wonder just how quick we're going to be able to learn and find out how good this team really is and what they could be doing because they do have veterans they can trade at the deadline too, and that's going to be another storyline to follow is all these guys. I mean, in a perfect world, I think they're competitive and they still trade the veterans anyway, and then they kind of give these young guys more minutes. That's my hope for the team, but I don't know. I guess that's my overall takeaway is my overall prediction is just I think we're going to learn a lot about this team and a lot about the players on this team because a lot of them are still young and a lot of them have a lot to prove.
I'm just like I keep saying. Last year crushed me so much. I don't want to get my hopes up, but
I know.
if we can have competitive games, because last year we got popped a lot, like it was bad.
Yeah.
But like y'all kind of remember like the 2020 season when I mean we were last place in the league, but every game we played, like I swear we would lose in like the most classiest way. Like it'll be like a 10-point loss or whatever, like against good teams. So I'm like, I could live with that. If we could do something like that this year, like the games we do lose, at least keep it competitive, entertaining, show some kind of fight. I can't ask for too much more because as far as wins, I'm not getting my hopes up with that. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
No, me
The
neither.
the getting out of games, like we're out of games by the third quarter, like
It's tough.
half of the season last year. It's tough. It's like, do I even sit down and watch the rest of this game when we're already down like 20 and their
Hmm.
bench is in? Um, I just want to say one more thing and then we can move on because I don't want to forget this. I think Monty is going to help Cade a lot. And I know, obviously, Dwayne Casey, much respect to him. He was a great coach. Monty has some great experience too and some different experience that he can bring. And I think one thing that we can unlock Cade a little bit more is his foul drawing. And you guys know he doesn't get foul calls. And now he doesn't drive a ton, but when he drives, he gets hit, and he didn't get calls last year. And obviously he only played a couple games last year, but even the season before, he didn't get calls, which you don't normally do as a rookie. But now he's going to be in year 3. He has a very well respected head coach who's been to the playoffs, been to the finals, knows all these refs. Hopefully it can help his case a little bit because that would really change the game for Cade if he could start drawing fouls and get to the line. I mean, most of the stars in the league, they average all these points because they get to the line and they hit like 8 free throws a game. If Cade can do that, it can open up. And not just Cade. We need other guys to be able to do that too. But that's my last thing.
Uh,
No, I
I
agree.
I don't know about. Oh, go ahead, RJ. Sorry.
No, I was just saying I agree because I mean Monty, he was a guard when he played, so I mean he okay with that for sure.
Was Dwayne Casey ever a player? Like, I didn't even know Monty was a player. Honestly, was Dwayne Casey ever a player?
Man, that would have been a while ago.
Because I would always used to see these like memes and stuff about Stan Van Gundy as like as like a point guard or something.
He did play.
Stan Van
Well,
Gundy played.
no, I'm
Oh,
talking about.
Dwayne Casey did. That's a hell
It
of a
looks
backcourt right
like
there.
he was in the 1979 NBA draft, but he went undrafted.
Oh,
Oh wait, I might have lied. I don't think he played a game.
okay. I don't know. I think for Cade, it's like just a strength thing on it. Like he needs to get stronger, like just adjusting to NBA physicality and stuff. That'll take time. I like how RJ feels about like Killian, I guess. I'll be honest, I kind of feel that way about Monty. Like I feel like he just got the bag. And it's like, how many times have we seen in professional sports someone just gets paid and it's like, well, I got paid. That's really what matters. Like I don't know if he has that chip on his shoulder. Like he's already been to the finals. He's done it all. Like I guess maybe there's something to prove here, but for me, I always wanted a young head coach. Like I look at Nick Nurse with the Raptors. He got elevated into that starting head coach position and won a title. He had a chip on his shoulder. He wanted to prove himself as an NBA coach. I just feel like Monty Williams, does he really have that much to prove? Like I don't know. I can't assume this, but for me, it just felt like I'm just doing this just to get the bag. Because there was rumors about him not even wanting to coach, like he was going to sit out a year or something like that. So I don't know. I hope there's a chip on his shoulder, but for me, I just kind of like my thoughts and feelings towards it. I don't know if it's going to be that way because at the end of the day, he's an older coach. Like I said, he's been to the finals and he got the bag. I would have preferred someone a little younger with a lot more to prove than Monty Williams.
I'll say this. I think he will. At least I hope, but I do think he will try to, motivate this team. I think he will put his effort into it because I think he wants to show that he is worth the bag he got. For one, two, I think it will make a great story. Because I mean, the NBA is full of storylines. And on a serious note, we know Monty Williams, his situation with his wife having breast cancer. So I mean, that's a story within itself as far as like he's battling with, that personal issue, but also carrying this team. And then the third thing is I know somebody who dealt with a situation where they were picking between two coaching jobs as far as the team that was really, really bad and the team that was okay. And I told them when they asked me for my opinion, it was like, what should I do? And I said, go with the team that's okay. And they was like, but if I go with the team that's really bad and turn them into something, it was like my legacy is kind of solidified at that point. So I thought about it that way, and I kind of see the same with Monty right now. Like, yeah, we know what he did with Phoenix, but if he pulls this off with the Pistons too, we're like, let alone let him win a championship, then he's gonna have to go into some type of conversation, as coach of the last 20 years or whatnot. So I mean, he might want that. I mean, depends on what he wants and what his pride will let him do.
Yeah. Did Monty ever win a ring as a head coach? He hasn't, right? So I mean, when you ask what he has left to prove, I mean, that's a pretty big goal that every head coach has. Obviously, it's one of the hardest things to do in all of sports, and he's gotten very close to it. So I mean, I feel like if I had gotten that close, I would still be very hungry to get back. Now, going to a team that's the worst team in the league to do that doesn't sound like the smartest decision if you're trying to rush into a championship, which for that reason, I think he actually is committed for the longer term, because why else would he have come here at this stage of the rebuild? Now he may not have believed it in the first place. That part I do think, he was dissuaded from coaching in the beginning. We had to fly him out to Cali to, talk to him with Tom Gores and do all that. And I think we convinced him, but I think we convinced him for a good reason. I think he understood the vision. He understood what we wanted to do, and he saw an opportunity for something. And sometimes it's just his belief, and faith in that he can change stuff. So I hope he can. I really hope he can.
Yeah, I hope he came here for the culture. I hope he came here for those reasons, or did he come here for the money? I mean, we're gonna find out. But that's my worry. It's in the back of my head. I don't know about it. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Monty Williams. Troy Weaver, I know RJ, we talked about him a little bit. I guess if we want to before the season starts, just kind of give our thoughts on where we're at with him, because he's another guy, I'll be honest, I'm really on the fence about. Because RJ, you said yeah, technically this is year one of the rebuild. It's not. This is year. What is this? Troy Weaver's fourth or fifth year at this point?
4, I think.
Yeah, fourth year. So yeah, you have a new head coach, but to me, this is still the fourth year of the rebuild. You got unlucky last year in the draft, but you got lucky and got Cade Cunningham. And I understand the previous regime didn't leave him anything to work with. You were left with Blake Griffin, in his awful contract. But at the end of the day, you've had multiple drafts now. You've had a lot of cap space in free agency. And I told RJ, he's put the worst basketball team on the court in the NBA since he's been GM of the Pistons. I mean, there's just no getting around that. He has been, if you just want to look numbers wise, at the end of the day, it's a win-loss league. He's been the worst GM in the NBA, I guess, over these last 4 years. So again, like I say, this season is going to be predictable and we're going to learn a lot. You got to show me something, man. In year 3, you won 17 games. There's got to be some progression. So I'm really on the fence about Troy Weaver. If I'm being I think he's had enough time. And I told RJ, Cade Cunningham, I'm not going to say his job relies on Cade Cunningham, but it pretty much does. If Cade Cunningham isn't an all NBA top 15 player, this team, I don't think is going much of anywhere. And at that point, I'm not gonna say this rebuild has been a failure, but Cade Cunningham has to be great for this team. But Troy Weaver, I don't know. My confidence in him is pretty low right now. I hope that changes. Over these first couple weeks of the season, we see a lot of good stuff, and then I can kind of get back on the Troy Weaver hype train that a lot of people, were on, and I think a lot of people still are on. But I don't know. My confidence in him is waived a lot over these 3 years with just the product that he's put on the court.
I would say for me at least, my confidence level hasn't really changed in him. I think, for one, we just know a little bit more like what he is and what we didn't know what he was when we got him, and now we know how he functions and how he works. Yes, that comes with some negatives, right? He has a lot of fun with these little trades he likes to do that don't end up turning out into much, that just end up being a lot of fails. And I will say that hasn't been great, getting a lot of these failed guys, the Josh Jacksons of the world, right? Those experiments, that hasn't been fun to go through every year. But to his credit, yes, the losses, he has been, the losingest GM. But if you take a look at that roster that first year, and you take a look at that, or when he got it, and you take a look at the roster now, yes, the win total may not look different, but the pieces are a hell of a lot different, and the assets, just in terms of straight value, are a hell of a lot different, even just tradable value. So, in my opinion, he hasn't done a great job at turning this team into an instant winning team, which is what a lot of fans wanted and deserved, frankly, and probably thought we were getting when we got him. And yeah, we're in year 4 of the rebuild, so it seems like the time is ticking. But I want to give it time because I think a lot of that had to do with the coaching, the injury to Cade, and the situation we were in. I mean, I think we were so down in the depths, and I mean, you guys are Lions fans. You know how it was, how deep in the depths Patricia and Bob Quinn put us. Like, we're deep in the depths with the contracts we had, and we had nothing. And so to at least have what we have, and yes, some of it was luck and everything, I think that he's done a pretty good job for where we're at right now. Does he need to start producing results? Yes, he does. Absolutely. Are the excuses running out? Yes, absolutely. And I think that I don't know. My confidence hasn't been that good, hasn't gone down too much. I will say, in terms of trades and free agency, I'm not as confident as I am in his drafting ability. His drafting ability, he's produced a good amount of all rookies. Yes, we've had the Killian draft was, you can look back on that however you want. He still produced 2 all rookies from that draft in Sadiq and in Stewart. So if you look at that, and he's producing all rookie guys every year out of the draft, I don't have a problem with that. That's pretty good drafting, even if you're not getting a number 1 pick every year. If you're not getting a top 10 pick, you're still getting all rookie guys. That's really important, in my opinion. But yeah, that's what I would say. That's what I got about Troy.
I'm gonna tell you, I mean, what we have to realize, being a Detroit fan, players are not willingly coming to the city of Detroit. So we just gotta call it what it is. I know we have cap space and all, but yeah, unless you're willing to overpay a player, which it's not the best thing to do, nobody's coming here. We just gotta call it for what it is. Like, this is not a New York, LA, Chicago, and we're not the Warriors. So like, players are not willingly coming to Detroit. And then the other aspect of it, so yeah, like Teo said, you kind of got to build through the draft. Like, you have no choice. So yeah, there's been some hits. Yeah, there's been some misses. I mean, Killian was his first draft pick, and that's not looking great. But then you have, like you said, the guys who made our rookie team, like your Sadiqs, who is no longer on the team. You have your Stewarts, who is I mean, he's still on the team. Duran made all rookie. Ivy made all rookie. K made all rookie. So he's had some hits along with misses. Sar, most likely, in my opinion, all rookie. So I think it just really comes to chemistry, keeping these guys together, and getting some nice vets around them. I mean, he got dealt a bad hand with the K injury, but he also got dealt a good hand with getting K to begin with. So I get where you're coming from, John, as far as like, you're like, we got to see some results. And I think we all feel like it. Yeah. But I can't put all the blame on Troy just because of the fact, I don't think Casey was the right coach also for the situation. So I'm glad Troy did, or him and Gores did what they could to go get Monty, because okay, now we got a new coach. So this is pretty a big year for the Pistons. I mean, and a big year for, honestly, yeah, you could say it's a big year for Troy Weaver, because if things don't work out, then he's in the hot seat. So
yeah, I just feel like, how many more seasons? Like, did they win 25 games this year? It's like, how long can you really give him before it's like we got to start winning? Like we got to make the play and we got to
Yeah,
see some success. It's like
Yeah, I mean,
if it,
I think it's very fair that this is the year, barring some crazy stuff happening. Like
mhm,
I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not even gonna say it. Barring some crazy stuff happening, I think that should be the case. If everyone stays healthy and we have a full played out season, if we don't see at least a 10-win jump, yes, hot seat instantly. Like we need to at least some answers. He needs to talk to us, try to make a move, do something. And then if that's not working, then yeah, I understand a conversation at that point about, all right,
yeah,
maybe we have the pieces in place. Maybe it is the GM now. But now I
mhm,
think is day one of actually having the pieces in place. We have the pieces in place now. We didn't have the pieces in place before. Let's be honest. We're looking at those opening day rosters. We did not have the pieces in place. We do have solid pieces in place now with Cade healthy. So
yep,
yeah, I feel like the excuses have just ran out. Like the excuse was like Cade's not healthy, and it's like, well, that's gone now. So
yep,
there's no more excuses. Like you had cap space to work with this offseason. You chose not to go out and pursue some of the bigger names in free agency. Now, I mean, there's probably a decent chance that those names didn't want to come here, but you used your cap space and you added veterans. Like, yeah, I guess that's what I want to end my thoughts on. It's just like we need to see some results. Like I'm
yeah,
tired of getting my hopes up. I'm tired of believing in this, and I believe in these young players. Like I think Jaden Ivey's gonna be a future All-Star. Cade's gonna be great. Like Jalen Duren, I think has All-Star potential. I love Asar Thompson. He's gonna be a great. Like the comparisons to Andre Iguodala, I think those are completely fair. I think he's just a fantastic player and is going to impact the game in so many ways. But at the end of the day, it just matters. You're winning games or you're not, and it's like I we just need to start winning, man. That's really all it comes down to. Yeah. So it's a prove it year. Like I think it's a prove it year. I don't even think it's necessarily like a see what you got year. I mean, it kind of is that, but at the end of the day, like they need to prove that this core can win for the long term.
yeah,
And that was what it was supposed to be last year. Last year was supposed to be 30 wins. And that's what it has to be. It just has to be at least 30 to 35 wins. Because yeah, like even your 10-win improvement, that's 27 wins. Like that's still one of the worst teams in the NBA in year 4. Um, so yeah, I mean that's all I got. I guess I feel like we kind of just got it all out. We kind of just
yeah,
yeah. I
got over
mean, we
everything.
got the true feelings about Troy Weaver out. And I think everyone feels differently, and everyone's opinion is fair. I mean, everyone can judge how he does things differently, and that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's fair to judge him, and it's fair to think that we need some results, because if you're someone who watches games and you just look at the record looks you'd be like, what is going on?
oh no. I
Well,
So
think everybody is sick and tired of being sick and tired of this franchise. I
yeah.
think that's just what it is at the end of the
yeah,
day. So like we all know something got to change. We just don't know what. So
No, and that's my thing too, is like just seeing every other team go through a rebuild and see success. Like I feel like every team in the NBA has gotten their comeuppance and had their moment in some way, except like the Kings. The Kings were the joke of the NBA, and they're not anymore. Like the Kings got over the hump before we did. Remember the Phoenix Suns? How bad they were? They made it to the final. Like every team, I can go over every. I mean, I guess maybe not the Magic, but even then, like they had I'd say a pretty successful season. Like the Knicks, they won a playoff series. Like all the Cavs, all these teams have gotten their, like I said, their comeuppance and have kind of broken through that glass ceiling. I'm ready for it to be our turn. Like
yeah.
that's how I feel, and just like my patience. I don't want. I'm done having patience for this team. Like we've been patient long enough. It's time to see some results. Um, But yeah, that's all I got. Do you have any other Pistons topics? We can kind of just go over our predictions, I guess, overall for the season. I mean, we did have a comment about Cade's ball handling, too many turnovers. Did you guys catch any of that in the preseason? The
He
key
didn't
turnover.
he didn't play much in the preseason, and I don't really like to judge what players do off of preseason too much. But he had one game where he didn't look like that great, and then the last game that we played, he looked pretty good and shot like really well. So I'm not really gonna comment on that. I think he did have some ball handling issues at the Rico Hines tournaments and runs. Where he was getting stripped here and there, but I mean, it's summer runs where he's like jogging up the court and like just whatever. So I mean, again, I'm not stressed about it. I think he'll be fine, especially with we actually have some good guys out there in that lineup with him now that'll help take the pressure off of him.
Yeah, I guess
I could see him having problems early in the season, but once he gets his rhythm, yeah. In fact, I could say that about Cade game all around. I think he's. Well, I'm not going to say I think, but I will say I wouldn't be surprised if he struggles early in the season. I mean, again, he's coming off a year-long absence from the game. He's going to be given the keys to the franchise. Well, he already was, but we know what I'm trying to say. Bottom line is he's the franchise player making his return after a year away. We got a new coach in the system. He got to learn a new system. It's going to be a big adjustment for him all around between his own physical health along with learning the playbook mentally of Monty Williams. So with that being said, I think he will struggle. Well, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he struggles early in the season, but once he gets his feet wet, I think he will be like back to that hopeful all-star, close to Cade Cunningham we hope to see.
Yeah, for me, it's like the efficiency. That's what I'm going to be focusing on more so than the turnovers. Because, I mean, he's still a young guard. Like, that turnovers are just going to be inevitable, I feel like.
True.
Yeah, but I guess in terms of, like, my predictions, like, maybe they could be the 12th seed. Like, I think there's two teams. I think there's a decent chance they're better than the Raptors just because Toronto kind of seems like a mess right now. But like in terms of just the NBA, I haven't really been paying attention to the NBA, but I think like the Bucks should probably get out of the East. I think they're going to be a fun team to watch. And then in the West, like, I haven't been paying much attention. I really like the Lakers, but I do think like the Nuggets. I think a Giannis Jokic finals would be pretty fun. But I'm a really big fan of the Lakers and what they did. But yeah, I guess it's a pretty boring prediction. I'd probably go Nuggets Bucks finals. I don't know if you guys have thought about your finals predictions yet, if I'm putting you on the spot.
I'm the same way.
Say Nuggets Bucks.
Yeah,
and I'm a huge Steph fan, so I mean, I'm always hoping the Warriors sneak in there.
Dude, never bet against the Warriors, even though they lost last year, and I was shocked by it. You can't bet against the Warriors.
I will never bet against Steph Curry ever.
But you bet against LeBron James. I mean, I don't know.
I'd rather bet against LeBron before I bet against Steph. That's factual. I don't care. I know what happened last year, but LeBron, once again, he's another year older. But then we say that every year. And that dude, maybe I'll take that back because LeBron's a freak of nature, man. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually would take Bucks too. I think that Dame and Giannis is just gonna be awesome and killer. And they should make it out the East in my opinion. And the West is very interesting as it always is. And I honestly would love to see Jokic back in there again. And the Nuggets, but being from Minnesota would also like to see the Timberwolves turn up a bit.
Hold on. What did Minnesota do this offseason?
Minnesota, they made the playoffs last year, and they can come right back.
Wait, did they get swept or they lost in 5? Right?
Don't worry about it. They got Anthony Edwards. If you know Anthony Edwards, you know he's gonna be all of a sudden one of the best in the league. He's gonna be one of the best in the league real shortly here.
Rudy Gobert.
That I think I will say it looks ugly. It does. But they've had a year under themselves now to have figured that shit out and to have figured out what they got to do to make that work. And if they can make that work with Gobert, with Towns, with who they signed to an extension today, a good extension,
a lot of money. That's another guy. I don't want to get back into Troy Weaver, but that's another guy the Pistons passed on. But
And
That's-
and man, that's a good team. That's a good team. But will it be good enough to win out of the West? Who knows? Probably not. But I'd like to see them compete next year a little more than they have in the past. So hopefully that can happen.
I want to do like an NBA pod now, just talking about the NBA. Man.
You can talk about every team. It's like there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, you got Luka and Kyrie. That's gonna be something. Clippers. I always drink the Clippers Kool-Aid, and it just never happens. I don't think if I
Blow
don't
it
think
up.
I don't think if I can do that anymore.
Blow that team up. I'm over it.
Really?
I'm over it. They haven't been like. I'm laughing because of how Joe Dumars is telling like teams no longer to rest players because he's like it's not working. But like the Clippers are low key an example of that being true. I mean, they rest Paul George and Kawhi how often just for them to always get hurt in the playoffs anyway. So it's like I agree. What's the point?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Spurs. They're gonna be really fun to watch.
Wait, real talk. I gotta say this because I thought this was crazy. I just did a fantasy league draft for one of my friends and whatnot, 12-team draft. Somebody took Wemby with their 9th pick. I was like, that is insane.
Dude, that guy's up. He's gonna be. Oof. Spurs
Like,
are playing.
He's about to be a freak, but the 9th pick, like, you're telling me he's gonna be top 10 in the league? Come on now.
Yeah. In fantasy with all the blocks and steals and rebounds he's gonna be getting.
That blew my mind. I wanted him, but I was like, I'm not using my first round pick on him.
They're gonna be the play-in. I think they're a play-in team, the Spurs.
They'll be exciting to watch. I think that's gonna be a lot of people league pass team. I'm not gonna lie.
Probably.
Yeah, and the Thunder too. I mean, that's another team. They're getting Chet back too. Like,
yeah.
Curious to see how the Rockets do because they're always kind of unfortunately a measuring stick for us. It's always like, oh, how are the Pistons are doing bad? Well, how are the Rockets doing? You know, vice versa. And I think right now we're on a pretty similar pace, but if we can go ahead of them, that takes our agenda. That helps the agenda a lot. I don't know. We're in similar spots, but they might have a little bit of the advantage right now.
Yeah, should be exciting. I know. It's like doesn't the season start technically tomorrow?
Yep.
The first couple
two games tomorrow.
What are the games tomorrow? Oh, Lakers
Warriors
Nuggets
versus the Suns.
Some classic West Coasts.
Yeah, I think it's KD's first time at Chase Center.
Ooh.
I think. And then you have the Nuggets versus Lakers for the Nuggets ring night. So
yeah. Don't like the Suns. Not drinking that Kool-Aid. I think they're gonna be. I don't think they're winning the playoff series this year.
Whoa.
No,
Really?
There's only 4 teams can win a playoff series. I don't think the Suns are gonna be one of them.
So what's your top 4 teams in the West?
Nuggets, Lakers, Warriors, and oof.
Who's better than the Suns?
I mean, you still have the Grizzlies, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Not happening.
Nah, the Grizzlies have somebody who, yeah.
I feel like the Pelicans are the most just because they were like a top 3, top 4 seed for a majority of last year, and then just Zion injury. Like the Pelicans are just so hard to gauge as a team.
Especially Brandon Ingram. I'm not gonna lie. They're a slept-on team.
Yeah, I'd love to see a fully healthy Zion Williamson this year. Please.
We didn't even talk about the Kings. I'm sorry. That's crazy. I didn't even think about the Kings. But I mean, they're relatively the same.
The Kings,
team. Yeah. The Kings showed some heart last year. I like what I saw from them. I thought it was a fluke, but once I seen them play with the Warriors, I said, okay, this team actually legit. Like, yeah, they nice.
Oof. I would take the Mavericks over the Suns, I think. Just the Suns don't even have a point guard on their roster.
Crazy
let's check this out. With the Mavericks, what's going to be the reason Kyrie Irving doesn't play this year? Every year is something, whether it's a tweet or, him not wanting to take care of medical issues. It's going to be something, though. Kyrie is going to find a way not to play it. I like Kyrie Irving on the court, but, man, he's going to find a way every year not to play.
Honestly,
and then
like
the Mavs are going to tank their way out of the playoffs like they did last year. That was really weird.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I'm drinking the Clippers Kool-Aid again, man. It happens every single time, bro.
No, man. They can't stay healthy, man.
It's just their team is built like you win in the NBA with wings, and it's like Kawhi and PG just every year, man. That's just I buy into the Clippers.
yeah.
But instead, we're seeing Marcus Morris and Robert Covington and Norman Powell.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Honestly, if Minnesota could beat Phoenix in the playoffs, I don't think that's too out of the question.
They can defend that. They can defend that.
I can't. You guys think Phoenix is winning at least one playoff series?
Not necessarily. Depends who the matchup is.
Yeah, I'm with that. I think I am in the camp of saying they're going to be good. Like,
yeah,
I know a lot of people
be a competitive
talking about the bench, but I just feel like when you have a Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant, like, as long as those three do their jobs, you kind of just tell the rest play defense. Like, now if one of those guys get hurt or something like that, then yeah, it's all bad. It's all bad at that point.
I worry about Nurkic. I mean, I know it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but having Nurkic down low is not a great defensive look, especially for a playoff team.
Mm-hmm. It's like, what else do they have outside of that? Like, I don't even know. They got rid of Campaign.
Josh Okogie. They don't even have Jock Landale anymore. He's a Rocket. It's those are spots that are not easy to name.
But we did have a comment from OKC. I mean from DJ about OKC. I love OKC. Like, I think they're a play-in team. I wouldn't even be surprised if they're a top 6 seed this year. Like, they were a play-in team last year. Like, OKC, I don't think it's the craziest idea in the world if they even win a playoff series, honestly. Like, I think they've got, they got Shai or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They got Lou Dort, Chet Holmgren. Like, I think OKC is going to be it. I might even go top 6 seed in the West this year. I'm
excited for Chet. Chet is from here. He went to school right by where I grew up, and so seeing him make it is kind of cool. And I'm excited to see what he can do. He's always been really skinny, and he was obviously not highly touted recruit until that Stephen Curry camp where he blew up and then shot up on the rankings. So I'm excited to see him. We were supposed to see him last year, but he got a whole extra year to get stronger, to put on weight, and get ready for the league. And I want to see him and Wemby over the next how many years. Hopefully that can become some bigs that battle over the years. That would be fun.
You got lucky with that one.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if we want to go to the Eastern Conference, like, I think we all agree the Bucks, but I think Celtics probably win a series, Cavs, and then probably the Heat, I think, would be my 4 teams in the East.
Yeah, you never doubt Miami come playoff time.
No, I learned that lesson.
Seed they are. It never matters what seed they are. They going to find a way, man.
Yep. Even if they're the A seed, and
exactly. They could be the A seed, and they still going to find a way.
But yeah, this podcast has gone off the rails. But it was fun. I haven't talked or even thought that much about basketball, honestly, but I'm excited. The Rangers are absolutely destroying the Astros right now. So I'm a little sad about that because I was rooting for the Astros. So it looks like the Texas Rangers are going to be in the World Series. There's something for the baseball people. And
breaking news.
Yeah. Football. Mateo, we have not. So Mateo, you said me and RJ are Lions fans. I'm not really a Lions fan. Like, I told RJ, like, I will think it's hilarious if the Lions tank this season and don't make the play. Like, I will find
it's not gonna happen. How would that happen?
It would be so funny.
Why would that be funny?
I'm not a football guy. I'm not a Lions guy. I'm just not like. I don't have an emotional attachment to this team.
That's
I
fair
don't know.
then.
If
Yeah.
you want to give your thought, because this is like me and RJ will get into it at the end. Like, I don't know, RJ. Like, they're still gonna make the play. They're still gonna win the division, I think. But it's like people
Yeah.
talking about Super Bowl. Like, I don't know about that, man.
I'll give my quick piece because I know you guys have talked about it before, but before the season, and I'm not trying to be like that one guy who knows everything, but I was predicting that we were gonna get like 12 wins, 13 wins, and I was called crazy at the time, which what sounded kind of crazy as a Lions fan, especially being in Minnesota with Vikings fans mostly around me and Packer fans. That was like they're like no chance. Both of them thought they were gonna be better than us this year, and the Bears too somehow. But yeah, so I ultimately have been very happy with how the season has been going so far, as most people have. I'm not in the camp of fans who trip out after one game. Twitter was crazy yesterday. Crazy. I'm like, yeah, it was a bad loss. No, duh. It was a bad loss, but it's one game. We're 5-2. We still got the best division in the record by far. It's not close. Like, and if you look at our schedule, we have one game left against the team with the winning record, and it's the Cowboys, who I still think we can beat. I'm like, if you like, even if we lose some games, we're not supposed to lose. We're only going to lose like 5 games, 6 games max. That's still playoffs. And for me personally, I am a lifelong Lions fan. I have an attachment to them. I obviously want to see us win a playoff game. Like that's a pretty big deal. But even making the playoffs or winning the division, like we have never won the NFC North, like since it existed. That's crazy. So that to me would be a huge success. And I agree with you, John, though. The Super Bowl talk is crazy. Like, yeah, that's not happening this year. But could we be maybe a few years away? Yeah, we're on the right track. We're definitely on the right track. But yeah, I think playoffs is undoubted. I think we're going to make the playoffs. I really hope we can win a playoff game. That would be awesome. It's really going to depend on who we match up against and what our conference record is to see who we play against. If we get a bye, all that good stuff. But I'm happy with the team, and I'm not tripping like everyone else was about yesterday. Like we move on to the next week. See you later. Never talk about that week again.
I want to clap it up for Taylor. Just said everything I would say, like to the T. Because, like he said, we're 5-2. I mean, us Lions fans. I mean, like we got the comment in the chat right now from DJ. We went on with 16 before. Like we just got to be real. So us being 5-2,
this is still great.
Like nobody's complaining about this. So
No.
what we got our butts kicked yesterday. It happens. Okay, we had 2 kinds of losses this year. You had the close heartbreaker, and then you got the one where you're never in it. It happens. And I'm like, okay, again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how close you lost, how bad you lost. You're 5-2 at the end of the day. Who's complaining about us being 5-2? And then, like Teo said, yeah, the Super Bowl talk, it is a little crazy. But I ain't gonna lie. I do. You get in the playoffs?
There's a chance.
And there's only 2 teams in NFC that I'm worried about. And that's the Eagles
and the Niners.
Or the Niners. That if we play anybody else, I'm pretty confident. Now, the only thing about the Super Bowl, you got to go against the AFC teams. Now, that's the conference where I'm like, yeah, there's some teams in there that we're just not better than. But at the end of the day, we just want to make it to the Super Bowl. So, like, if we make it, who's complaining at that point? Nobody.
If they win a playoff game, I think that, like, to me, if they make the playoffs and lose, like, that doesn't do anything. Like, they've done that, but they did that in 2014, they did that in 2011, they did that in 2016. Like,
unless we win the division, though,
it doesn't. Who cares?
We care because we've never not won the division since it became the NFC North. Literally.
So you win the division and you don't.
That's a banner. That's a banner.
You get a banner? Like,
yeah, it's a division title. Yeah, it's just like in baseball.
When you're the Lions, you take what you can get.
Exactly. And like we've been at the bottom for every year, every time, you know what I'm saying? And to start that trend of, oh yeah, we're up here now, and now we're about to do this for the next couple years. I don't know, it's just a first. It's a first for me, you know, like we haven't been this good. This is in all honesty, it's the best Lions team in my lifetime, the most talented Lions team in my lifetime, man.
Thank you, DJ.
But is that more? Yeah.
Thank
Is
you.
that more the Lions being good, or is it more just the Packers kind of falling off and the Bears and the Vikings?
I
Is it
think
more?
they happen
Yeah.
together. They happen together. I mean, what happened to the Packers last year? I mean, we kind of ended that off. We kind of finished that off. The last
He finished Aaron
season.
Rodgers' Packers career.
Exactly, and I think that was kind of the perfect story for that. Time for the tide to change a little bit.
Yeah. To me, you have to win a playoff. Like, to me, it
Well,
doesn't
yeah.
matter unless you win a playoff game. Like, that's great. You could win the division. You could say you win the division.
Yeah.
You have to win a playoff. That's what matters.
That's very true. But I think it's also more than anything, this is the year where we show that we can make the playoffs and make it on a recurring basis. Because, it's not just, we made the playoffs this one year, we snuck in when the division was bad. No, this has to be we can make the playoffs every year. Even if the division has, a good Packers or a good Vikings or a good Bears, we still got to be able to make it. And then a playoff win will come. But yeah, obviously a playoff win would be very nice this year. I wouldn't expect that this year, though. That's very high standard, but that would be awesome. I think we can too. Totally will depend on scheduling. If we somehow get a first week bye or, home field advantage, something like that, we could win.
Yeah. I'll agree with you on first week bye. If they get a first week bye, then technically that basically is a playoff win. So I'll agree with you there. Like that if they get a first week bye, that's a huge deal. But yeah, they gotta win a playoff game. I think that's where, at least for me, and like that's the goal or the line that needs to be drawn. Because it's like we've never seen that, but we've seen them make the playoffs and lose. Like if they do that again this year,
It's been a while, but
yeah, sure, it means something to make the playoffs, but like just win a playoff game. If they win a playoff game, I think that's the most successful season they've had since 1991, I believe.
91, yeah.
I mean, that's what I was gonna say next. Like we haven't seen the Lions win a playoff game, and like you got a lot of people, like for Twitter, for example, who haven't seen the Lions win a playoff game. So that's like a big deal.
Yeah.
By the way, DJ, I totally agree. Ford Field would be off the chain. I would hate to be a cop in the city of Detroit that night. But, yeah, so I just feel like, if we win a playoff game, that's a big deal. But I will say this. I might even start something. We win a playoff game, it's going to quickly turn into Stafford who?
Yeah.
Jared Goff. Give Jared Goff the statue.
Dude, that's a whole nother issue in itself, because I was hearing Jared Goff on Sunday was just awful, and like
everyone was bad.
Yeah, he can't play in cold weather.
All-around bad performance. I'll even blame part of it. Like
the O-line was not good, and they're supposed to be the best O-line in the league. So I mean, that's going to affect Goff all day, every day. If he doesn't have time, he's not going to be able to work. We know that. That's how Goff works. He only works if he has time. He turned the ball over 3 times. Well, he had 2 fumbles and 1 pick. And that happens when you don't have protection. That's not his fault. But yeah, he also was throwing wobblers all game. That is on him.
Yeah.
You got to think the defense was horrible. The offense was horrible. I even think the coaching wasn't prepared. Like it was just 100%
all around, not ready.
Yeah, and it happens. It happens. So, I mean, we even saw it. Look, I'll give you an example. Late last year, when we started making that playoff run, we had the heartbreaking loss against the Panthers. The game where we was like, okay, if we win this, we probably making the playoffs. We lose that one. I think then we get shut out. If not, it was pretty close to. So
it was bad because they ran for like 300 yards on.
Yeah, like that game
like
was
Deontay Foreman.
But we still, I think that was the last loss of the season. I think we went out after that. So, like, obviously, it's too early in the season for us to win out. But again, going back to Teo's point, we only play one more team with a winning record. As we have like the second easiest schedule the rest of the way. I mean, you've got a pretty good way of bouncing back because the next game you play is Monday night against the Raiders at home. That's a pretty big deal because, again, it's a Monday night football game. That's hype enough within itself. You got it at home. That adds to the hype. And then you're going against a team that you most likely should beat.
Yeah,
all that you need to do is win that game, and boom, the momentum is right back. So things are not terrible for the Lions. Again, we're 5-2, so everybody needs to like pump the brakes. Teams lose sometimes, okay? I don't think anybody thought we were going 17-0 or 16-1. So like everybody calm down. We're gonna lose some games. I'm sure we're gonna lose another game this season. We might lose 3 more games this season, but it's not going to be the end of the world.
And we'll see y'all in the playoffs.
Exactly.
But yeah, I guess stay tuned for next week when we give our Lions update. Yeah, this podcast has gone off the rails. But it was fun, and we kind of just talked about everything. Yeah. I guess is there anything else we haven't talked? We talked about football, basketball, a little bit of baseball, like hockey. The Red Wings are good, but I don't really want to get into that. I feel like, but maybe that could be a theme on the podcast too. We can touch on the Red Wings.
They have looked nice so far.
Yes, they have.
I don't follow hockey, but if the Red Wings start to be really good, I might get into it. I could get into it.
Yeah. Oh, I have so many topics and ideas I just thought of with the Lions and stuff. But we gotta. This is supposed to be a Pistons podcast. But thank you to everyone who made left comments in the chat. Thank you, RJ Mateo, for joining. Should be fun on Wednesday. I guess we could end it with our prediction for the season opener against the Miami Heat. So Miami, I mean, I'll be honest, I know Miami made it to the finals, but they did lose Gabe Vincent. They did lose Max Strus. They're old. They are an old team. They lost Haslam too, so they got a little bit younger. But
that's a big loss right there, man.
I know we're Pistons fans and we're supposed to say the Pistons will win. I think they lose by 10. If they lose by 10, I'll be happy with that. Like the team, the Eastern Conference champions, if you lose to them by 10 points on the road, I'll be happy with that. That's my bar. That's my expectations. Is just lose by 10 points or less, and I'll be happy. I don't know.
Say we lose by 15.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say 10. I want it to be competitive, and I hope it's one of those that we keep competitive until like the very end, and then like they hit a 3 or 2. It's like 4 minutes left and it's over. That those games like aren't the end of the world, but you can kind of see it coming. So that'd be okay. I just want to be able to see some good game from our guys. As even if we lose, like I want to see some efficiency, some highlights, something fun to watch. Give me some good Pistons content, you know?
Yeah, I feel that. But yeah, make sure to follow me on X, Mateo on X, RJ on X. Yeah, we'll let you know next time we do a podcast. Maybe we'll do one again this week. I don't know. We just kind of play it by ear, honestly. But thank you everyone for listening and or joining. This was really fun. I really enjoyed the basketball and even the football talk a little bit. But yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.